What's up, guys? This is another episode of Life is Cooler with AC. I'm your host, Alex Cunningham, and today we have a very good friend of mine, Mr. Levi Elmore. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, what's up? It's your boy Levi, aka Cramjaw Jenkins, aka the Fifth Beastie Boy, aka Corey out of the house, aka slightly older Gravy. What's poppin'?
It's going to be really hard to put all of those in the bio. I'm going to be like, fuck, how many were there? And you didn't even get MarvinComedy in there. How the fuck did you
Oh
miss that
yeah,
one?
I think MarvinComedy might be getting phased out.
Ah, okay.
Like
Well,
it might
then
be
here,
sold for just for basic Levi Elmore comedy.
we'll
'Cause
scratch that from the record.
it's starting to get a little hard for the advertising when people are
Oh,
like
yeah, I bet.
they're like, who the hell is Marvin? And I'm like, look, dude, it was just supposed to be just my YouTube channel at first. And then I was like, oh, it'll be like a production company. Like if I make sketches or anything, it'll be under that like banner.
Right, yeah.
And then I realized when I made these little like postcards when I was doing my merch first attempt
Uh-huh.
that it was just the synergy wasn't there.
Right, yeah. And
So I
like
had
that's
to kind of
that's a oh shit. Could you hear that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I've got this this crazy little it's today's episode, obviously unofficially brought to you by Flensburger.
ooh,
Yeah, Hefeweizen. So
Hefeweizen.
it's got this fancy little thing here. So you heard
I
that
like
pop.
that.
What are you drinking today?
Um, I have sparkling white grape juice because
Okay.
I do not have any liquor in my house, but I had this when I had a friend over to toast who is not drinking right now, so I was like,
Oh, well,
okay,
that's nice.
sure.
See, that's always
And
so hard to not drink.
I've been trying like legitimately to like cut back on drinking because like I'm in a new apartment now. I just moved into this new apartment a week ago,
Okay, nice.
and the bathroom has like a really large like wall mirror,
Uh-huh.
and I've never had that before. I've only ever had like the mirrors that are like in like the medicine cabinet. And
Right.
half of them are so high up that I have to like stand on my tiptoes to shave.
Yeah.
Something
I
that
know
I'm
what
sure you
that's
can share with me
like.
on that.
Yep.
And yeah, short kings unite, man.
Right.
But like, I finally have a mirror where I can see my whole body easily. And I got out of the shower the other day, and I just looked in the mirror and went, oh no, how did I let it get this far?
Your
So I
joke about
like,
the lowercase lowercase b, and
hmm
yeah, like you're like,
yeah,
oh shit, that's real, I gotta stop
it's
this.
real, it's real now. So I got to, it's time to start doing some more miles on the treadmill and a bit fewer bags of chips and beers.
Right, yeah,
And
no, and
then,
that's tough.
yeah, dude, I weighed myself. I have to lose 21 pounds to get to my weight pre-COVID.
Oh really? Well, that's not bad.
160 now, so yeah, so
Well, because
that's
that's what they said, right? Like the COVID 20, like
yeah,
that's
so it's almost exactly because it might be like 18, but it's around 18,
yeah.
20. I was like 140, 142 range, and I'm like 160 flat.
Right, yeah, hey,
Which
that's not bad.
I told some people that, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm like, yeah, but you're also not like 5'1". Like it's
Right.
not that.
Exactly.
If I was
Exactly.
4 inches taller, it would be fine.
Yeah, I'd look great, I'd be a fucking perfect
I
slender
just
man.
I carry it all. I carry it all right here. So it's like I have normal looking limbs, and then just this like it's like sticking a bunch of toothpicks into a marshmallow.
Right.
Like that's just what it looks like.
That is you. Like some people pick, whenever they put on weight, they're like the Michelin man and they get rolls kind of just like
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly.
You're just a marshmallow in
It's
the
full
middle.
torso.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you, these guys don't know, so we're gonna tell them.
Oh
What was
yeah.
that? Just a couple years ago, you or was that a year ago? Fuck time.
Oh, you
It's crazy. You
talking
you
about
just filmed your
my half
yeah.
hour comedy special?
Uh-huh.
That was last July. That was July 21.
Okay, yeah. So
So
it's
yeah,
been just over a year.
just over a year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And we'll put his information down there so you can find it.
Oh yeah.
I was curious, what is your next step? What are you planning on doing now?
Yeah. I've been honestly, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really been focusing on comedy a whole lot other than just like hosting at Tolly's Bar and Grill here in Terre Haute.
Hmm.
Um, just because, man, life's been, bruh, I've been
Yeah.
focusing on like just staying afloat
Yeah, I
mentally,
feel
you know?
you. I just got fired today, so like
Oh,
I get
bro,
it. I
bro.
get it. Full-time comedian, like,
Yeah, dude.
that's the real struggle. Like, people all the time, they're like, wow, it must be hard to balance all of this stuff, like writing and yeah, it is. Like, you're not wrong,
Yeah.
so like, I get it, but you're still doing that, because I saw that you guys were considering doing once a week, and then you ended up or I'm sorry, once every other week, but you
Yeah.
kept it once a week.
We were gonna do every other week, and then Tobias approached me, Tobias and Sarah, and he was like, "Well, hey man, if you just want to host every other week, I'll host on the off weeks. That way, you
Okay.
get a break, because that is just like with this move and other things I've had
Yeah.
going on, like personal stuff. I'm getting drained, dude. And like
Yeah, I feel you.
work, I work full time Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30.
Right.
So like people are like, how do you balance that? And I'm like, I sort of, I mean, like kind of put comedy on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write some new jokes here and there. Like my next big goal was I wanted to do another special.
I think I
But,
lost you. Still
oh,
there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You said you've been
Yeah,
kind of putting comedy on the back burner.
yeah, it clipped out a little bit for me too, so I got a little nervous as well.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
yeah, it's just with work and other things I've had going on. Like I haven't been like hitting mics out of town,
Uh-huh.
like the rest of the boys have. So I've been kind of like a bit on the wayside. But like I'm still, even on the nights that Tobias has been hosting, I've been showing up and doing sets and trying to grind stuff out. We just did a show like here in town, at the Treehouse,
Oh
which
yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
yeah. Um, so like I Anthony Von Helbit, who I believe you've had on the show, he
Yep.
took video, so I just need to like cut my section and upload.
Uh-huh.
I've been taking video sets, so that's kind of now
Yeah,
that
that's awesome.
a a lot of stuff's starting to like slow down, thankfully. So now I can start focusing
Yeah.
on comedy again. But yeah, we got more shows coming up. We're doing one in November at Tolly's,
Okay.
which is going to be good. It's going to be me and the boys, as we do. A few out of towners
Yeah.
as well. Um, so some good things coming up. So I'm hoping to also start hitting out of town mics again and really want to
Yeah.
get back at it before we start getting all the ice and snow. So thankfully things are starting to calm down enough that my mental health will allow me to do work and comedy and not have to pick between the two.
For sure. Yeah, and that's, I feel like, something that people don't realize, that like, especially with comedy, it's
Mhm.
like you have a certain, like, I don't want to say image to uphold, but you definitely have like a certain, like energy to uphold.
Yeah.
So like when you're in front of people, and it's like you're being crazy and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're the fun guy, you're the, like, people forget that you're also a normal guy, you're also dealing with shit, so it's kind of hard to like always
Yeah.
put that face on, and then it's like, but also I have to go home and realize that, like, all of the other portions of my life are kind of failing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that it kind of breeds a little bit of like, I don't want to say like imposter syndrome, but almost a little, because it's like, the things where I've been like too burnt out to do comedy, and then, I'm not saying even anybody in the comedy group, but like other people just in general are like, well, I have this and this and this, and I have kids and I have to do this. Like people always
Uh-huh.
have to list all of the things that they have to do,
Right.
but it's like everyone, the thing that I always try to like impart to people, not even to use it as an excuse, is more just like encouragement.
Uh-huh.
Like everybody's got their own gas tank. Like just because your
Exactly.
gas tanks, they use like the spoons sort of metaphor where it's like you run out of spoons.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes people can take a little more than others. So like if you're
Yeah.
struggling, like don't think just because someone else is out here killing it that it's a failing for yourself. And that's,
Right.
if I could have given that piece of advice to me when I first started doing this, I probably would have been a lot better off. That's one thing
Yeah,
I've learned the hard way.
for
Like,
sure.
yeah,
And
sometimes you need to take a rest, dude.
yeah, absolutely. And that's something that, like, we fail to remember, especially at like our most vulnerable times, because, like, we're constantly seeing other people, like on social medias and stuff, constantly just thriving. It's because they're not posting the bad days. They're only posting the
Exactly.
good days, so it's very easy to kind of get behind on yourself and just be like, oh, hurry the fuck up, do this, do that, but it's like, no, like, it's okay. Take your time. Like, whenever you're running and you get out of breath, you don't just keep running. Sometimes it's okay to stop and just be like, all right, I'm gonna catch my breath for a second. Doesn't mean
Yeah,
you're out of the
exactly.
race. It just means you got to take a breath.
Yeah. But the other important part is once you've taken that breath, you do need to start at least running a little bit again.
Right, yeah,
And that is
yeah,
the
you
problem
did.
that I've had.
Right, yeah.
I'll mess and I'll get home from work and be like, man, I need to upload a video, or I need to just do like a whatever. I'm gonna play an hour of Skyrim and go to bed. Like it's just one of those
Right,
like
yeah.
so like that's what I've really appreciated things like TikTok where I can make like a short form video.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Like
Because
sometimes
you're on there pretty consistently.
yeah, like in my TikToks instead of just like even uploading like stand up clips,
Uh-huh.
sometimes tell my jokes in the style of a TikTok because I'm trying to like blend the two that way to kind of like dip my toe in the water a bit.
Right, yeah, for sure.
But then you played on a very good point earlier. You said like, oh, you're that guy on stage, and you're that guy everywhere else. And my worlds have kind of been colliding a little
Uh-huh.
because like I've so Tolly's has their own TikTok account,
Okay.
and the owner Gretchen uh, had us do like a TikTok for the Tolly's thing, and I was
Right.
there hanging out for because they do karaoke when we're done with comedy, and she asked me to be involved in it, and like I did the TikTok for her, and I was like, all right, great. And then I had the guy that works at the Starbucks by where I work, and one of my friends who lives on the other side of the country,
Mm-hmm.
like one other person, all were like, hey man, I saw you in that TikTok for Tolly's, and it's like the friend is fine, but now like people from work when they realize that I do comedy,
Uh-huh.
like I used to always tell people like, oh, work is Clark Kent and that's Superman. Like it's
Right.
yes, we're the same guy, but it's like I mean I'm leaving the glasses on, but metaphorically speaking.
Right, yeah, for sure.
And I'm starting to realize more and more that that's not really the case always.
Yeah.
That I kind of now need to like reconcile the two. I can't just like shut it off and go
Uh-huh,
that
yeah.
because then it's like obviously I'm not talking smack about my work while I'm at comedy, acting like I'm two different people, but it's like
Right.
getting that balance and that blend is definitely a weird thing for me because I've always been used to jobs where it's like part-time jobs or like I worked in a call center for a bit, so like
Mm-hmm.
my face wasn't in front of people, so it didn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Now like I'm in a different position where I'm a bit more like people see me every day in an office setting. So now it's like, oh, I just it's kind of made me a bit more mindful about like
Yeah. You
not
you
so much
have to
on just
watch the
like
things.
the image. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, like that's definitely a hard thing. I was actually talking to somebody today about like the company that I just got fired from. I'm gonna keep saying it because it's funny to me. But she was like, they wanted us to post on our own social media, like go into this business and buy things, and I'm like, I don't think that they would want me to do that. I mean, I post pictures of titties. Like,
Yeah.
is that the person you want to buy mattresses from? Is the person that's posting, pictures of titties all over the place?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if they had like a corporate account and then you could just do a video and say
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like come
Exactly.
in."
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah, like that would be the same thing. Like I wouldn't want like, the people that know us know where I work, but for those that don't, I work for a university in my area, so
Mhm.
I work in higher ed. And that's the same thing that I'm very like mindful of. Like
Right.
and
Yeah.
whenever I make jokes about like certain things that go on, I always make very clear of like where the joke's coming from because I don't want
Uh
anything
huh.
reflecting back upon like where I work.
Yeah. In
Uh,
your company.
because I have written jokes about it, but a lot of it was from when I was a student because I
Uh
was a
huh.
student at the place where I work, and so I try to make it very much like it's not the butt of the joke, but it's like the setting with where the observation takes place.
Right.
Like for example, one of my older ones, they were going to change the signs for one of the restrooms to say like family restroom, like all gender restroom, and I make it seem like I'm being offended at the sign, but it turns out it's just because it was like printed out on
Oh
computer,
yeah.
but they didn't put the dots for the braille.
Yep.
For
I
it's like
remember
they
that
put the
one.
dots for braille on it, but they didn't actually like. That's a bad way. If you listen to the joke
The joke is a good joke.
on my special, but yeah, because it's like, oh, I saw this sign and I was offended at this all family gender restroom sign because they had the dots for braille, but they didn't give it any depth.
Yeah, they printed it. Yeah, I
They printed
remember.
it, yeah.
Yeah, now
So
I
it's
remember.
one of
Yeah.
those where it's like the university itself is not the joke. It's the fact that like there's one particular sign. I like
Right.
to make it where it's like you don't even know if this really happened or not.
Yeah, for sure.
fun for me just to be able to play with that.
Yeah,
So
well, but your stuff I feel like is, kind of I don't want to say family friendly, but like it doesn't toe the line like as much as my stuff does,
it's a little more
so
tame, yeah. I've gotten a little bit
a little bit more
racier, not about
frisky.
stuff where I work, but a little bit
Right,
racier
yeah.
content
There you
in the
go.
last year or so.
Yeah, see, that's like it's funny because like I look back, like we didn't start comedy together or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I feel like I was in a huge learning process whenever we were doing comedy together, and the last year, like since I've been gone, I mean, totally different person. I mean, you just saw me on stage,
Oh yeah.
what a couple months ago, and totally different from a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Like I was doing 5 minutes and struggling. Now I just did half an hour, and like
Yeah.
I
And
think it went pretty
you
well.
you were very natural with that half hour too. Like
Thank you.
you didn't feel like you were slogging to try to get to the end. Like you had a very clear like defined plan, or if you didn't, I didn't notice. But like you
Right?
felt
Yeah.
comfortable. And oftentimes having the longer sets is more comfortable.
Oh yeah, because it gives you breathing room. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to be like, how do I cram all this shit in 5 minutes?
Because when I did that special, people were like, "Man, were you like nervous having to do a half hour?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, no.
Because like a lot of people like they hear my jokes and they're like, "Man, we love your jokes, but they're just so drawn out. You have to cram so much in that 5 minutes." So
Yeah.
having 30 minutes where I could like be the little long-winded English major that I am,
Uh-huh.
I can kind of let things breathe instead of having to be like, "Joke, joke, joke. All right,
Exactly. Yep.
bye."
See you later. See you next week. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like it is totally different, and there was a point, I don't remember who knows. I was gonna talk about something about growing, obviously not physically.
Oh, same.
Uh
Yeah, it's been a while.
yes, something we're still working on. Oh, but that's back to my original question. You said, because we got into you kind of are stepping away right now, but you recorded that, and are you going to do another half hour? Is that, like, is that a plan, or are you going to rework this one? Like, what are you thinking?
The ultimate goal is I want to do well first I was going to like take this one off and put like an actual like title card credits and things on it, make it look a
Uh-huh.
little better,
Yeah.
and re-upload it because right I think it's just like the raw footage just pretty much just like what we
Right. Yeah.
and that part of that was just because we had some technical things like
Uh-huh.
we originally had ideas to have like multiple angles and it sometimes like the space and some of the equipment things just didn't
Yeah.
quite the goals were a bit loftier than what we had available to us at the time.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the ultimate goal, yes, is to do another half hour, but this time not just do it as a special for YouTube, but to actually cut it into like an album format and put it on Spotify.
Okay. Yeah. So like an audio version
Like an
of it.
actual audio version. Have the video on YouTube, but actually have a track list
Yeah.
audio version for Spotify.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that would be
that's
great.
my ultimate next goal right now. And then yeah, I've been talking to a few folks in Indy and Bloomington, so I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
really try to start getting back out of town again. And I have a dude that I know who's in Illinois. It's about the same distance from here to Bloomington
Okay.
that he is in where he is in Illinois.
Right.
And I was gonna try to get out there too and start getting out of state and
Yeah.
branching out because that was really the big thing. It's like when I started doing comedy, I've been doing it for 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't feel like 11 years because the
Uh-huh.
first like 3 or 4 were like it's a Mexican restaurant now, but it used to be called the Coffee Grounds.
Okay. Yep.
And I was doing like Taters and Joe's,
Uh-huh.
and then Wabash Bar and Grill later, for the OGs of Terre Haute.
Yeah, I
But
did Tater and Joe's. That was my first one.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
would do stuff there, and then like we did shows there, but like people were like, "Oh yeah, man, you're like the best comedian here." And for a good 2 years, I was like, "I'm the only comedian here."
Yeah, wow, what a
So then,
compliment.
then over time, the Verve crew started popping off where you got Patrick and Timmy Wells and
Uh-huh.
Richard Bean, Andy Stidham, and Justin Wood, all these cats just doing their whole thing. Um, and then they eventually just kind of brought me into that fold. And then
Right.
2017 started doing stuff at Tolly's, and then
Here
here
we
we
are.
are.
Yeah,
Over
that's
all the
awesome.
week. Like
Yeah, no, it's really neat to see because like I've been gone for the last year, but just seeing so many shows and stuff popping up, like it's awesome, because like I obviously love comedy and like the community and just kind of like the whole shebang, so
Yeah.
seeing so many people, like I've noticed the Bloomington guys are coming up, like from Bloomington to Terre
Yeah.
Haute, and then like seeing all of those guys, kind of travel together to Indy and to all these other places, like that's awesome because like the Bloomington guys used to be like, well, we're from Bloomington, and it's like, all right, like, cool, that doesn't mean shit, but it's like they kind of had that mentality, so
Mhm.
like seeing everybody kind of like work together is so much cooler.
Oh yeah, and these guys that we got coming up are super chill. And when we were really in our heyday of like comedy at the Verve in downtown Terre Haute, we had a group of Bloomingtonians that would come up pretty regularly, and they were also really great. So it's cool to see people from these outer areas sort of coming in. And I mean, any comedy community, you're gonna have people with differing attitudes. Like I
Absolutely.
have my own beefs with people from Indy who are like,
Uh-huh.
man, we're the best.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're also in Indiana, so how about we
Right.
all take a breather? Like,
Exactly.
unless you're like hitting up like Chicago, LA, New York, whatever.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
like the
yes,
comedy hotspots.
and that's kind of what I like about us, because people from out of town will come in and be like, man, your guys' scene, you're not really clicky at all. It's like, well, we're 7, 8 guys maybe at most
Yeah,
that
just
here. I
telling
wouldn't
jokes.
even call us the scene. Like we're just a group of people hanging out. Like
Yeah.
you know, 8 guys, maybe 3 women regularly doing comedy around
Yep.
currently. So a non-binary or two in the mix. Like we're trying to diversify. I know Terre Haute is not like the oasis of diversity,
Right.
but luckily and that's nice because I like having those diverse perspectives as well. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's
how do I
nice.
market that? It's like, how do I like come in? Because when they just see like 7 white dudes talking about how much they want to kill themselves,
Uh,
it's kind of hard to like.
yeah, but also we're funny too.
It's like we're
Yeah,
funny too. But that's what I'm saying. I guess what I mean by how do I market that is like how, and maybe being in a bigger sort of area. Like I don't know, man. We're just trying to get more people in,
yeah.
because that's the thing. It's like, because somebody had said one time, they're like, man, you guys aren't a very diverse group. It's like, we're lucky to be a group.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, come on
So
now,
it's
give
one of
it
those
give us
where it's
some
like
credit.
we try to market to the local universities and things, but like
Yeah.
we got a good core group of what we do, and we're really looking to expand. So
Yeah.
I
That
just don't want anybody to be turned away when they just see us and be like, man, I'm not like those guys. I couldn't go do that. It's like, no, we want people who don't think like us, because we want to hear new stuff.
that was the best like marketing from corporate I've ever heard. We're a really good core group of guys. We're just trying to diversify. I was like, am I being pitched a job right now?
Yeah,
That,
we're
but but
we
no,
work
for
hard, we play hard.
we
We're
just
a
know.
family here. By God, if old Patty Eaton writes another 5 minutes, I'm pizza party
Pizza
for
party
everyone.
for all 8 of us. We'll all get a slice, because money is also tight here at corporate.
We'll get a couple
But
Little Caesars hot and ready's.
right.
We'll be fine.
But no, like for real, and like it is hard because like we're putting on our own shows and everything, and we're actually like booking a show like right now, and
Yeah.
I've reached out to a few people, but like one thing that we don't ever do is we don't ever do shows that don't have females on it.
Hmm.
And the reason being is because females are already in the comedy world, they're already shit on because there's not a lot of them, so then it's
Yeah,
really easy
exactly.
to push them around and make them feel inferior. And like that's not what we want at all. Like we want more women to do comedy. So like obviously I can't put on like an all female show because I'm not a female, and I'm always going to be on my shows because I'm still a dickhead, but it's
Very much the
like
same.
but I want to make sure that we're giving everybody an option, and even for the
Right.
crowd, like you can't do a show that's like it's all white dudes because we all are going to have very similar perspectives,
Yeah,
so having
exactly. That's what I was trying to make way more eloquently put than me just. I feel like I just like word diarrheaed all over what I was trying to say. So thank you for saying it better.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to relate to the audience. I was translating from like smart people talk to like just idiots. This is how we talk.
Yeah.
Like so, but no, like exactly. Like we have to, like continue to grow the community, and to give the audience and everyone involved a good show because at the
Yeah.
end, like that's what you want. You want everybody to leave and be like, wow, that was really good. If everybody's like, wow, everybody was just the same fucking person on repeat, like that sucks. Like it sucks for the comedians because it's like, oh man, can't use that joke now because someone else already used it, and then like it makes it a very strange situation, for everyone involved.
Yeah, and luckily that doesn't always happen with us, thankfully,
Uh-huh.
because I there is some overlap. A few of the guys and I have had certain ones where it's like, oh, I just wrote a new bit, and then we'll get off stage and be like, oh crap, that's like three-quarters of the thing that you just said. Like, let me,
Uh,
and like we'll get up there and go, oh, now I can't do this joke.
yep, exactly.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, we at least have those certain things that set us apart. So
Uh-huh.
thankfully, like you're never gonna hear a set between like, just to use again examples of people that have been on the show. Make sure you watch the other episodes. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Right
Ring
now.
that bell to get notifications. Look, you
Smash
gotta
that
get
like
YouTube
button.
engagement, my dude.
Right,
But like,
exactly. That's my
luckily
biggest
you're not gonna hear
downfall.
that between like me, Anthony Von Helvet, and Patrick Eaton. That's always the same
Uh-huh.
because obviously three dudes with very different experiences.
Right. It's
But
just it's hard when
also,
you come from the same place though, like like that makes it very very difficult. I'm lucky that like around here everybody is from like kind of a different place, so you have people who are like, oh yeah, what it was like growing up in like Philadelphia. Oh, this person, what it was like growing up in Mexico, so
yeah,
it's like two totally different places, like of course they're going to have similar experiences, but it's never going to be identical, and then like they obviously use their own life and like perspectives to change those experiences, and that's
yeah,
where comedy comes from.
yeah, very much, yeah, exactly. But and then yeah, you get that other side where it's like, yeah, in a town like this, Terre Haute being a mid-size sort of town, uh, Tobias and I just had this happen a couple months ago where it's like we both had stuff about how dudes with diesel trucks are just
Uh-huh.
complete assholes. So it's
Yep.
like,
Yeah. So
how
yeah.
many times can you talk about, finding a meth pipe in a Speedway gas station bathroom?
Right.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
gonna get some
Like
overlap there.
yeah. Like the audience is gonna relate, but you're gonna start digging into some things that some other people have said. So it
Yeah,
makes it difficult. Have you watched some? Yeah, you've watched Tobias, and did you watch Patrick's
I
episode?
watched Patrick's. Yeah, I watched Patrick's and I watched Anthony's.
Okay. So what we do is we have questions from the audience. So we're gonna do a
Yeah.
couple from the icebox. They're always just fun, just kind of
Oh yeah,
break
of
up
course.
like not everybody loves listening to like about comedy 24/7, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna see what we got here.
All right. Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. So I have to do a preamp to this. I think that's how you say it. To this question, they people have counted how many times I've talked about Hitler in this podcast, and it's like Seinfeld, how he's got Superman in every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently mine's Hitler, and I don't know how. But this
Okay.
this question is Hitler in heaven?
Oh no. No.
Yeah.
No.
It's a good question.
No. It's like little Nicky. He's getting a
He's
pineapple shoved in
getting
his
a
face.
pineapple 100%.
100%.
But see, so this is what's fun. This is where I love this question because I've had to ask this question before because like we recycle.
Yeah.
So if you're with us now, go ahead and ask some questions down in the comments because we need some more questions. But I'm going to ask you to back up why you think he's in hell.
Well, I'm low key atheist, so I don't really believe in a lot of it. But I feel like just if they're even beyond that, I feel like a special hell would just be created for Hitler.
For just Hitler?
Just Hitler. Like if
Okay.
nobody else, like if everybody's like if it all just like ends and nothing happens after that, Hitler's still got himself like a little. He's still
He's
got
still
like
like in a box.
he's still got like a little pineapple that's being shoved
He's
in him.
he's still got the pineapple. Okay, so let's you don't think that he would share a room with like Joseph Stalin?
I feel like actually they would, but it would be like a 90s sitcom where they would have like a tape down and be like, "You stay on your side."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like that is their hell. They never
That's
stop
true, because
fighting.
that's the whole thing where it's like Hitler really is seen as like the worst,
The
but
one, yeah.
there's so many people that also killed millions. Well, I mean, maybe
Uh-huh.
not on the scale of Hitler, but
But responsible.
responsible
Like
for it. Yeah,
yeah, but then think about, like Hitler never like physically killed somebody, but you have like Jeffrey Dahmer,
yeah,
and like do you think Jeffrey Dahmer is in the same room as Hitler? I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer might like to shove the pineapple in Hitler's ass.
that's true. Well, yeah, I mean, it would add some flavor,
That's what I'm saying. So,
a little
but
olive oil, a little brown sugar, you know.
would that be hell at that point, or would Dahmer be in heaven?
That's the thing. I think Dahmer that would see, and now we're getting into this weird like metaphysical like
That's what I'm
is
saying.
is heaven like your personal heaven?
Or is
Maybe
it your
Dahmer's
yeah,
personal heaven is eating Hitler's ass.
yes, with roasted and probably roasted, I would assume, pineapple
Yeah,
on his asshole.
yeah, like a glazed like Hitler honey ham,
Yeah,
like spiral
Hitler
cut.
honey
Like
ham.
Dahmer's like watching Peter Cottontail, ready to make like Easter dinner. He's got just a slab of Hitler cheek.
He said, "I told you I'll let you go kill more Jews. We
Yeah.
just have to get one more slice."
If there is a hell, I'm going to it after that sentence that I just
After.
So I'm gonna hope that there's not.
Well, if
That's
there
gonna be
is,
awkward. He'll
but
be like,
think
"Hey, what are
about.
you in for?" Well,
He said, "Well, those guys over there that are fucking each other, they're kind of responsible for it, so
I
they
made a
put me
joke
here."
about it on my friend's podcast.
But I'm happy to see that I was correct.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I mean that would be satisfaction of a job well done.
Right. That would be the pinnacle of your comedy career. You're like, I was right. It was funny, but I was correct. Yeah. But see, like that's what's so like it's interesting because like Dahmer's a big thing right now.
Oh
I mean he's been a big thing for a while, but
yeah,
like with the new Evan Peters version, it is very very interesting to see like the take on that on Jeffrey Dahmer because like
yeah,
he had fans and like all kinds of crazy stuff, like so like he obviously like if there's a hell, like I would assume that he went there, but so many people were proud of him and loved him, much like Hitler.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you get that, and you get like Charles Manson, same way.
Yeah, exact. And again, somebody who never actually physically killed someone. So like what are the stipulations? Like
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because like if you're gonna get into that case, then like if we're playing by those rules, those are the criteria, then knock knock, who's there? It's George W. Bush.
yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna play by those rules,
Yeah.
technically, knock knock, it's everyone.
Yeah.
Like that's I was at work a few weeks ago, and some lady she bought off of me, and she was like, but before I give you the money and pay for this order, I just have to know, do you know our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? And I was like, I've heard of him. Don't personally know him, but like I've heard of him, And she hands me this pamphlet, and it like I open it up, and inside it's like, you're a sinner. You're going to hell. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, like that's fitting. I'm just don't know how this lady knew. But
Yeah.
then like it goes through all of these things, and it talks about, like how you have to repent, or like you have
Yeah.
to you have to accept before, so you're already doomed to hell. So technically, aren't we all on our way except for those, few people who found salvation?
Pretty much. I mean, they do say you go to heaven for the climate and hell for the company.
Yeah.
So
See?
there's a I was raised not raised Pentecostal when I was like 12, 13. I looked at my mom. I was like, I don't want to do this no more because nothing instills complete anxiety in a child than him being at the age of 6 and basically being told that he and all his friends are gonna burn in fiery pit for eternity after the Lord sends a giant fireball down, and then if you don't have this mark on your wrist, they're gonna cut your head off. And like Pentecost, they really love that book of Revelations, man. They
Yeah.
are mad for that. But like, there's a passage in the Bible that says like it's as easy as getting a camel through the eye of a needle. I think is how it kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah, getting
translates
into
to.
heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's already working against us, man.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm
like,
saying, you know? So it's
yeah,
like, is Hitler in hell? Probably.
yeah.
But like, would it be better to hang with Hitler than to, chill with Jesus? Like, that's what I'm saying,
Well,
like,
and here's the other thing too. We've obviously never been there. I mean, like I've been in Ohio before, so
right. So
but like,
kind of.
are we going off like Dante's Inferno? Are there multiple levels of hell? Would
Right.
you want to
Yeah.
see Hitler? Like, like it'd be like, how you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in.
Right. Yeah,
Like, would
exactly.
we be just
Like
like
you wave
chilling in
down at him.
like ring number 3, getting like eaten by Cerberus, or like are we
Right.
down like in the basement with him and Judas? Like,
Or would you have to wave up at him?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Did you get it?
yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I just
I
had
did.
to. I
I
just.
did. No,
I. I
I was
just
just
had to make
just
sure.
trying to move past it. I was just like, man, if that's what you want to do,
He said no. He said I'm fucking out.
I'm good. Almost when you hit the Bobby De Niro, I was about to be like, that's
He
the
said,
only that's like 1/15th of a Bobby De Niro impression. But I was like,
I
call him
like.
Bobby. We go golfing on weekends. That's great.
Right, yeah. No, well, when you said Bobby De Niro, I was like, does Robert De Niro have a fucking brother? And then I was like, wait a minute, nah, I'm just
You know,
stupid.
I heard somebody else refer to him as that, like in a bit. So then I started doing it, and yeah, one time I said that, and one of my friends was like, "Fucking get dinner with him on weekends? Like, what the hell?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh man, that's just I guess people call him that."
yeah, that's just what he goes by, like with his friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But, no, you just said something that fuck, I can't remember. But oh yeah, that moving past the Hitler stuff, we're
Yeah.
again, yeah, we're not done. This was the whole thing that you're like, I can't have my work and the people at work see me talk about certain things. Hitler's probably one of them. So I hope that you share this with all of your friends.
I will. I think as long as I can say very well, Hitler's in hell. He's a bad person.
He was a bad
I've
man.
talked to a few like supervisors in the past that I've had, and they're literally like, honestly, we don't care what you do as long as you're not up there like being like, oh, this place sucks, don't go there. No, no, no.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna do that because I like having a job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I
and
really like having insurance and money for food.
yeah, it's I feel like it's really easy. I mean, like I've held jobs, like my entire comedy career.
Yeah,
And I don't ever mention my job. Like I'll talk about like experiences sometimes, but like not
yeah,
even really,
exactly.
like a lot of times it's just like the thing that you have to worry about is like the other day I had some people in my work and like I was giving them a hell of a deal. And they were like, "Wow, this is like why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Because I know you've got the YouTube app." And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "And I know that it's really easy for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel." And so they did. And the wife found me on Instagram and she was like, "Oh, I found you on Instagram." And I was like, "Oh, feel free to follow me." And I was like, "But maybe don't while you're here." And she was like, "Why? Because of the titties?" And I was like, "Oh, you already saw them? Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, go ahead and follow me then."
Yeah,
But it's like so maybe, like there is that, but like I always tell my jobs, I'm like, just so you know, this is
yeah,
part-time. I'm a full-time comedian, so like what happens here really doesn't fucking make a difference to me. Like this is just to pass the time while, like I'm waiting for my career to
yeah,
pick up some speed, gain some
yeah.
momentum.
Yeah, I've largely been the opposite of that
Yeah.
because it's like I like doing comedy. I really need this job.
Right.
Like
Yeah. It makes it it
I've
makes it tough.
it's very much like, sometimes people be like, "Oh, don't quit your day job, kid."
Right.
Like insultingly, and I'm like, "No, I don't want to quit my day
Yeah.
job at
No.
all. I would really prefer, and because like I like where I work, so I'd really like to, stick around for a bit if that's cool."
Yeah, and like that
But I
makes
know that's not
sense.
always the case because that's where I was last year. I was in a job and it was, not great at all. And then
Uh-huh.
I quit, and then that's when I did the special, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to be a full-time comedian. And then I went like 3 months coasting off of like just money I had in my bank account.
Uh-huh.
And so don't do what I did, which is basically just turn into the dude from The Big Lebowski, getting up at like 2 p.m. in a bathrobe, being like, all right, man, I'm gonna put in 2 absent Indeed and then do nothing. So, and you're way more driven and have a goal and plan than I. So I don't think you'll have any problems.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's like it's funny, because like you never know what somebody's goals are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like I've met people in comedy and they're like, I just want to be a great host. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I fucking hate hosting, and they're like, no, it's just I love hosting. And like I'll host anything. I'll host a fucking kid's birthday party. Like I don't care. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like and it's neat to know that like other people's goals are different than mine, and it's totally fine. Not everybody wants to do, the same thing, just like in life, like not everybody wants to be a doctor. Like that doesn't mean that you're
Yeah,
bad because you
exactly.
don't want to be a doctor, so it is
Yeah,
really
mom.
weird. You're right. Listen, he's not gonna be a doctor, and
Right.
Hitler is in hell. Okay, he's figured it out.
I
Poor
mean, look,
Levi.
that's all a mother can ask for sometimes, you know.
That's
That's all anyone can ask for out of their life is like when you get to the end, be like, do I believe Hitler's in hell? And what was I, the best open mic
was
now bi-weekly comedy host?
but at
While
Tolly's
another guy
Bar
hosts
and
the other
Grill.
week. I have joint custody with Tobias over the open mic.
Yeah, because they stopped doing it at the Verve, didn't they?
We did, yeah.
Oh, I say they.
My
Yeah, it's you guys.
I mean, yeah, it was just largely, I mean, just we were doing it on Sundays, and that just wasn't a good time for a lot of people. So like, it got to the point
Yeah.
where we didn't have comedians showing up a lot.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's
we were
tough.
just like, and that's when Tobias approached me. He was like, "Hey man, we're probably gonna be like fading this out." He was like, "That way, like, if you want me to host, so we can keep tallies every week." And I was like, "Yeah, go for it, do
Yeah,
it."
absolutely. Yeah,
I know
that's great.
Tobias, knows how to do it from having done.
Uh-huh.
So it's because I had a couple of people were like, "Why don't you just like shuffle around the hosting duties, like a different person host every week?" And I'm like, "Because I can't trust you guys enough to show up and stay the whole time."
Exactly. Yeah,
You
for
know, and
sure.
like I like them, but it's nice that Tobias is a very reliable, unless something comes up. Like
Uh-huh. Which he'll let
if
you know. It's not
if
just
you
gonna
want
be
to be
like a
able to
no
host an
show.
open mic, it's really important that you're there every week, so the person
Uh-huh.
hosting gig knows that you're gonna be there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, like it's crazy because like I do this mic, like I go to it, I don't do it. But I go to this mic every Wednesday and it's a revolving host, every week it's somebody
Yeah,
different. You sign up and it's crazy how many times that we've had comedians sign up and just not fucking show up. And then,
yeah,
it's like they like I'm there every week and like they do showcases every weekend and like I've been on the showcases several times and stuff. So like they know me very well in there. So a lot of times I'll be like, "Hey, we don't know who's going to host because the host never showed up. So like, you want to host?" And it's like, "I guess." But like I hate hosting so much.
well, and also to walk back something I said earlier, I love all my comedians. They're great. Again, we have a small enough group that they're gonna be like, "Hey, you pitch," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Listen, all right, I
Yeah,
love
I
you
know you're
all.
talking about me.
I love you all." No, but yeah, dude, that would be kind of a nice goal of where I'd like us to get to, where we can get big enough to the point where we can start being like, "All right, yeah, we're gonna do like host and showcase and try to make that work."
Yeah.
The only thing is, if we were to get big enough, we'd have to maybe do it an hour earlier because
Yeah.
you know with karaoke pretty much immediately following,
Right.
and that's a conversation I
Capping the
have with
list though.
yeah,
Yeah, like I've noticed like around here people will cap the list. They'll be like, "Nah, like it's show up and go up, but you got to make sure that, and like you can't have a bunch of people signing you up because as soon as like I told people like if I was running a mic and I had somebody sign up, like that wasn't there, they had somebody else write them down and they didn't show up, your ass is not getting on my stage again.
yeah, dude,
Like you're wasting my time, you're wasting the time of the venue and other comedians, and you're disrespecting it. Like so you just once you lay down some solid ground rules, it's like fuck that. Like people will either a start to show up because they want to be there, or they'll be like, nah, I know that I can't make it, so I'm not going to waste their time because I don't want to not have the opportunity.
yeah, exactly, and that's again something that I'm glad we haven't had to worry about yet.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
the only times people will ever like message ahead and be like, "Hey, can you put me on?" is when they're like, "Hey, we're driving in from Bloomington, but we're hitting
Yeah.
traffic," and they'll
Yep.
message me directly and be like, "Hey,
For
can you put
sure.
me on?"
Totally
So
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally different, but it's one of those things where it's like we should be so lucky as to
R-
have a capped list and not have a few people show up.
yeah. Yeah, but like
It's
I
an
think it's coming. Like
I can see it,
Terre Haute's popping
especially
off. You guys are doing a lot, and
really
like
well, man. And I'm really hoping it gets more people out to mics. I want to, like I said earlier, I want to start marketing to local universities more, and get some of the younger blood that might stick around, for a couple of years,
yeah.
while they're doing, stuff at, the different. I mean, we have like two major universities, well, two full universities, and
Uh-huh.
tech, and the other various, the surrounding area things going on.
Yeah.
So we definitely got a good bit of people. So I'm hoping that with these shows that are popping off, especially the ones that like Terre Haute Brewing seem to be.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
know Patrick's got one coming up here later this month. I think on October 28th.
Yeah, I think
And
somewhere right in there. Yep.
and then the ones that we've done at Treehouse, we had a pretty good turnout for the
That's
Treehouse
awesome.
show that we did recently too. So I'm hoping that really encourages more people to get out because it again, from having lived in this town, the biggest mantra is like, oh, there's nothing to do here. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do, and then it's like, I mean, I know comedy's not everybody's bag, but like, it's something to do. We're
It's
pretty
something to
good.
do.
Come
Yep.
out and get a few drinks, get some food, sing
Yeah.
karaoke after, like.
Exactly. Yeah. Just spreading the word.
And
Yeah.
it's also kind of now that we're getting into the fall because we've had the new concert venue, the Mill.
Uh-huh.
They've been doing shows a lot, and then other like bands and things. So I'm hoping also now that the colder weather and just other like outdoor bigger events are starting to sort of taper off.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So they'll
I'll
be looking for that
have
inside stuff.
half the time when we had a slow night like over the summer, I'd be like, oh yeah, this so and so is playing at the Mill, and everybody's
Uh-huh.
here watching like 38 Special, and it's just like, so that's the other thing too. It's like it's nice to see more things happening, but also it's like it's ruining my life.
Right. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, for sure. But like you said, like just getting people involved and people wanting to even go out and support, like that is kind of the biggest obstacle.
Yeah,
So other people are kind of paving that way for you, because then they will be looking for those other things to do. And then just getting, like kind of making sure that the community is aware is going to
yeah,
be, like the biggest hurdle. And I mean, that's everybody's hurdle is just, like letting people know that this is happening.
yeah, yeah. And I think we're definitely on our way there because the
Yeah.
people that do show up, they always seem to have a pretty good time, and they're really liking it. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, no, and that's great, man,
Yeah.
and I'm super happy to see it too because like obviously like I'm a Hoshian, through and
Oh,
through, so like just to see the community and like the comedy and just everybody kind of come together, like and support and partake and like it's awesome to see, so like I'm happy you guys are still pushing through it.
yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things where the support we've had has really made all the difference between,
Yeah.
obviously Tolly's where we do our open mic, and then, different local businesses and events supporting us, the opportunities we've had between Terre Haute Brewing Company and the local vinyl record store. And, like Tobias and I performed at Terre Haute's first Pride Festival. And,
Yep, I
you
saw
know,
that. That's awesome.
it's been really good that people are taking notice, and they're
Yeah.
really, it's to the point where they're reaching out to us now. It's
Right.
not just, please put us on this. Like,
Uh-huh.
people are
Yeah.
approaching us and saying, hey, we'd like to have some comedians. What do you
Yep.
think?
Yeah, and
So
that's a great position to be in.
it's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
definitely, it gives me hope for where we're headed.
Yeah,
Forward.
absolutely. Well, we're almost at an hour.
Oh,
So yeah, like I like to
time
keep it
flew
right at an
by.
hour.
Goodness.
Yeah, I know it's good. Like
Yeah.
I love this and talking to all my friends and it was great
Yeah, dude.
chatting with you. I know when I was in town we didn't get to talk too much, because I was just super busy.
Oh, yeah,
But
dude.
I'm glad we got to catch up, man.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
before I forget, drop your socials, let them know where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok, which is it's Tis ya boy Levi, and boy is BOI. I have a Marvin comedy TikTok. I'm phasing that out to maybe make that just like a Terre Haute comedy TikTok. So look
Nice.
to that. But yeah, Tis ya boy Levi on TikTok. I'm just trying to boost that presence. You have to have 1,000 followers to go live. I have like 825.
Nice. That's awesome.
Get that over 1,000, then I'll do a TikTok live from one of our comedy shows, and hope we don't get banned for saying things about Hitler having a pineapple shoved up his ass, maybe by Jeffrey Dahmer. You can find me on YouTube at MarvinComedy, and that is where my recent stand-up clips will be posted, as well as my half-hour special. And then also on Facebook, my page is Levi Elmore Comedy and Stuff, because I made it when I was like a sophomore in college, and I didn't know of any other name to give it. But so those are definitely the three places that you can find me the most for comedy content. And thank you if you do decide to follow and stick around. And thanks to anybody that watched this, and thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being on here. And honestly, like, I know it's okay to take a breath, so like I just hope that when when you're caught up, like you just jump back in it, because you definitely keep the Terre Haute comedy scene alive, and so like I love to see it. But thank you so much for being on here and for sharing, it's just some comedy talk, man. I fucking love comedy, so I truly do appreciate it.
I always love talking to you. It's one of these days, we just stand on each other's shoulders, and we can be a full-size comedian and a trainer.
Like the Monstars.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, dude,
I
always appreciate talking to you, even if it's just like to say hi and just see what you've been doing, watching you killing it out there. So thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate talking to you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Check him out. Super funny. Levi Elmore. Thanks, guys.